In the same way that a lot of people that don't get Yeat, I was the same way. I was hearing the residual effects of 2018, 2019, and a little bit of 2020, like mumble rap, melodic, like that kind of stuff. Especially a lot of the Travis Scott stuff. I was seeing influence from that. In this and just in all other music that I was hearing in general, I was seeing it sort of fade away. The industry was sort of coming off this sound. They're tired of it, they're fatigued of it, but then Yeat is jumping back into it. And I'm like, aren't we kind of tired of this sound now? But then when I thought about it, I'm like, but what if he's not making a mistake? What if he's being deliberate? What if he's trying to do that? Then I'm like, oh, wait a second. I hear some signs that like, oh, this is deliberate and he's trying to push the boundaries in these ways. Like he's not trying to bite off the previous wave or whatever. He's trying to evolve that. So I had to change my attitude of how I was going to listen to him. Most people listen to music to consume, to escape, right? I want to listen so I can engage, so I can create, so I can gain ideas from this, so I can see, oh, how is this guy pushing the boundaries? What's the setup and what's the payoff? What is he trying to accomplish here? And then is he able to accomplish that? And if he's not, or if he's going in one direction, maybe I could find another direction to go in. Maybe I could come up with ways for myself to be creative in music. I think that's the right spirit to listen to Yeat, is like he's inspiring people to also be creative. If you look at the people that make remixes to his stuff, him and like Playboi Carti are the two guys that are inspiring other people to also be creatives. They truly care about their craft and they're trying desperately. They're only human, you know, but they're trying to innovate and come up with things and sounds and ideas that people haven't heard of or thought of or even considered as being anything like worthwhile like pursuing, you know? People talking about how, oh, that nothing's original anymore. That's a psyop. Nothing was ever original. If you thought anything in your entire life was original, that's good enough to do anything, because none of that was. The point is to give people art. It's to give people enjoyment. It's to give them something deeper, something that has a little more meaning to it, something to inspire them, something to make them feel some type of emotion. There's so many psyops like this, like, oh, you can't do it because it's not original. It's just excuses. And I always see the people with the most excuses that shit on Yeat the most. So that makes me like him even more. And that's why people are like, oh, Yeat has such a cult. Because like people push Yeat fans into having a cult. His music has a lot to offer even if you don't like it. And then there's the basic concept of mere exposure, which you're denying. You're denying the fact that if you do listen to it a handful of times, you would like it, which anyone would. Anyone can learn to like this stuff. It's just a matter of patience. You rejecting that and going like, oh, but these people are like, they like this weird sound or they're just faking or whatever. You're applying that label onto them. You're pushing them even further away from the rest of the music industry. And that in turn restricts them from offering their value, their creative like desire to express themselves from translating into other parts of music. You're preventing innovation by shitting on Yeat basically. Holy shit, I sound like a cult follower. I am starting with Yeat for a reason. He's my favorite artist right now, and he's been my favorite artist for maybe 2 to 3 years now. I'm more thinking about like, okay, this is like an overload of stimulation, which is what like this cover art and everything. That's what this is. He's overloaded, like stimulation overloaded while making this. I'm talking like so scholarly about a Yeat album. His ad-libs for this song are Yeat. He's repeatedly saying Yeat, at least that's what it sounds like. I don't look at the ad-libs, I don't look at the lyrics. I think that's a waste. I think that's a distraction from like listening to like to appreciating the sonics of what Yeat has to offer, you know? And it's like, if you can't understand it, you can't understand it. Oh well, that's what you can understand and what you're meant to understand based on where you're from and who else around you sounds like him. And if nobody sounds like him, then just take it for what it is. It's just sound. It's just nice sound. I can only understand maybe like 10% of what Yeat says, honestly. I think this album is definitely, this is not Yeat at his best. It's not even close to his best. He didn't even start sampling in this stuff, which is like one of his greatest strengths actually. I don't even know if he knows that, but he's better than me at lyrics too. And that's his biggest weakness. His biggest weakness is still a strength above mine. That's how I know I'm not meant for music. Because there's a few things I'm meant for. A few creative endeavors that like, I could change the game in those. I've always been very humble when I'm around artists, because I know that music is not one of them. The reason why I had to point out the fact that I was humble, that I'm gonna be humble around artists, is to like make it clear I'm genuinely not looking to offend anybody. Like when I say shit from a place of I could not do this. And I'll make that clear to any artist that wants me to make that clear to them or to the world or whatever. It's your responsibility to have some self-confidence, honestly. Like have the confidence to realize that your music is still good even if I insult it. Don't be insulted by my insults when I say like, oh, this song fucking sucks. I'm saying it for a different reason. Like you know what I mean by that. oh, could you make music like that? No. Yeah, but I'm still saying it sucks. And this one does, and you can take from it what he wants if he decides to, which he probably won't. And all other artists that I plan on reacting to, like, don't take anything I say personally. Some of it might actually be personal, but still don't take it personally.
Oh, word.
Whenever you're ready.
Yeah. It's Yeat. I'm here, Audio Mac. Just dropped my new tape. Swipe up, go.
Yeah, no, he's definitely autistic. Not much to this song, but it's like I can still appreciate the fact that he put it out. I hear so many people, so many like times, even my brother in the 2093 reaction, he said something like, oh, I don't like when people just put out like hella songs, they just spam music. It's like, yeah, why would you not like that? Like, you don't have to listen to it. No one's forcing you to listen to that music. Why would you not like when someone puts out more music? You don't like seeing others try until they succeed, and you don't like seeing all those failures. It's actually a form of projection, is what I've noticed. It's hell, musicians will go to the studio, they'll make music, they'll never release it because they're afraid of it looking bad, they're afraid of the audience hating on it, they're afraid of the haters, they're afraid of failure, basically. And they never try because they're afraid of failure. And then people like Yeat, who put out albums the way Alex Pereira fights, they just don't wait too long. Put out 3 albums a year, fight 3 times a year. They see people like this, and it's like, in their mind, a part of their mind feels like, oh, Yeat's not achieving success in the music the way I would want to achieve success in music because I would want everyone to like me. And no one can make everyone like them. If you make everyone like you, that means they're lying. That means they're afraid of criticizing you. And why the hell would you want that? If you want it to be real, if you want people to like you for real, you want to find success for real, you have to accept the haters that come along with it. That's how you know it's real. If anything, that makes it all the more sweeter when you actually do find success. But put out your failures, put out everything. Just express yourself. And for those who resonate with it, cool, they have something to resonate with. And for those who don't bother listening to it. Who cares? There's no downside to dropping music or to seeing an artist drop music. There's no reason to hate someone for having more options for songs that no one's forcing you to listen to. In fact, it gets annoying when people get signed to record labels and those record labels force everyone to hear those songs, shove it down everyone's throats, played in every gym, played in every grocery store, played in every supermarket. That's when it's annoying. And those record labels only put out projects to succeed. They're only doing it to succeed. You as an artist, if you have that kind of attitude, you're no better than the record labels that you criticize. You just don't have the power that they have and the money that they have. But if you did, you would be doing the same thing because you care about winning. You care about finding success with it rather than just expressing yourself and expecting success to follow. And that's what I would tell these people. Don't worry about it. Like, don't worry about making your reactions good to UFC fights and all this stuff. Don't worry about trying to make the music perfect and appeal to the mainstream and trying to promote the most mainstream sounding song and all this stuff. Like, just put your art out there. Just put it out. That's why I can have a respect for these kinds of songs. And that's why I give Yeat so much more leeway than other artists. And I do have standards where if this was like most other artists at least, I would go like, yeah, no, this song sucks. And I do think this song kind of sucks. But I want to give the leeway of like, is it listenable? Oh well. If it's not, I'm not going to add to my library. No harm, no foul. Because I don't want to be like, I don't want to be a hater. The way that like my brother was in that 2093 video, I don't want to be a hater where like my brother will see people like me who can appreciate artists for what they put out and learn to look past their failures. And my brother can't comprehend that because he can't break out of that himself as a consumer. He can't look past another artist's failures and appreciate their successes for what they are. He goes, no, I'm going to hate him more. I'm going to hate him more and more and more. And they actively trash these artists as a way of like coping, as a way of like counterbalancing, and as a way of like testing, like, oh, do y'all really like him? I'm going to make this guy a hated artist. Like, let's see how much longer you guys like his music when you're looked at as being a fool for liking his music, or when you're looked at as being like a mainstream, oh, you like this like brain dead, brain rot sound. Let's see how long you like him when people judge you for it. It's like, dude, not everyone lives their life based on what people think of them. Not everyone chooses to put out art or not put out art based on audience reaction. Some people actually just care about expressing themselves, and they value other people who also break the mold and find success just by expressing themselves. I felt like mentioning that goes into like other arguments that I have for other ideas and things like that, other philosophies that I have. I'm rambling a little. I just wanted to put that out there. That's the sauce right there, bro. That's the sauce. If you ever seen that Indian movie, Three Idiots, there's such a great quote in that movie that's, I'm sure, been said by a million different people, but I learned it from that movie. It was, don't chase money, chase excellence, and money will chase you. And excellence is it's a translation error. The movie's in Hindi. The subtitles are probably different on different websites and different pirated versions, but that's what it was in the movie theater. But I interpret it as like, chase your dreams, chase your calling, chase what resonates with you and what you're like, I can do this. Not many people can do this. I can contribute something here. I can create something great here. Chase that and the money will chase you. Hopefully, maybe. If we all do it, then the money will chase it. The more people we get to do it, the more money will be available to go to the people who actually actually chase their calling, rather than everything being gatekept by like record labels and people, businessmen in suits who don't actually make music, who are just leeching off of these things. It's like, nah, take the music industry back and like take it back for us, for the people who actually like care about music and care about creating. I generally find that like people like my brother who will like criticize Yeat don't care about that kind of thing. In fact, they want to partner with them. They want to just join the winning side rather than actually make the side that deserves to win. They're like, oh yeah, I totally signed to a record label. I don't mind signing to a record label depending on the deal. Screw the record labels, bro. Yeah, I'm saying that, and Yeat made his own record label not before he dropped his project. It was before he dropped the project Alive, which was the first project that I like legit reacted to. He made his record label Twizzy Rich. But all this to say a few things, but I'm not going to say all those things. But the point that I'm going to make with this is, despite the fact that most of these songs are going to be not worth listening to more than once, they were still worth putting out. If it's worth doing at all, then it's still worth doing badly. It's still worth doing as an amateur, as a beginner, or whatever. I was literally just with my cousin, and she's a modern woman, so she like, I predicted, I knew it was going to happen, where like some kid would like fall and then she would like fake laugh, like pretend to laugh as if to like put people down. But laughing at that kind of stuff is like, you can laugh at someone's failures, but laughing when someone's an amateur or a beginner, like everyone, even the best in the world, were amateurs and beginners at some point. There's not anything to laugh at because it'll affect everyone. If like a really good person falls, yeah, laugh at it, absolutely. But I knew she was going to do that fake laugh, and me and her sister, the whole time, we were roller skating, and we were getting better and better and better, like progressing. And the entire time, this girl is stuck holding on to the thing. The whole time. We're there for like 30 minutes to an hour. It's time warps and acts in weird ways when you're having fun like that. So I actually don't even know how long we were there. But yeah, that whole time, she didn't progress at all. And I'm like, yeah, because you're scared to look like a beginner, because you're scared to fall. Don't be so scared to fall. Be scared to fall if it'll hurt you, but you're 13. You'll heal in 10 seconds. So like, if you're scared to look like you're at the bottom of the mountain, you'll never make it to the top, because you have to be at the bottom first. Part of making music is putting it out there and seeing the audience reaction and getting familiar with this kind of thing. And when I see artists just make music and never put it out, I'm like, it's just pathetic. There's nothing noble or valuable or anything like that in keeping your music catalog tucked away. And my brother's entire music catalog got deleted, most of it. Like, it got corrupted on corrupted files. And I don't want to say like, oh yeah, good. But you know what? Kind of good. There's kind of an upside to that. And I told him, when it got corrupted, I told him, I'm like, you should have just released it to YouTube. You should have just dropped it on YouTube. Oh, some of those songs weren't finished. So, live stream it. If it's not finished, still upload it to YouTube. Then you can go back at least on the songs that you actually care about finishing, and going like, oh, well, at least I have the ideas saved, so I can go back and replicate those ideas again. Maybe even expand on them more. Maybe you have a different perspective. It could lead to a whole different adventure. Every door opens up. Every adventure opens up when you just start releasing your music. And Yeat is a counter to that. I'm glad Yeat is successful because he proves that this works. So that's my justification for giving him so much credit, giving him so much leeway, and being willing to put up with so many songs that even I would be like, this is trash coming from any other artist. But this one does suck. But I can appreciate the fact that he's trying to innovate and do new things and throw new ideas out there marginally, little by little, test out new, like, it's not branches of music, but it's like stems off of branches that other people have already made. Test out, poke and prod at like the meta of the music game, you know? I can appreciate that. The one thing it's not the one thing, there's a few things, and I'll go through them as I like notice them or whatever. But one of the things that I don't like about Yeat, honestly, is still to this day, this persists, I think. I didn't really give like a proper listen to his newest stuff, but he cares too much about designer. Like, he promotes that too much. You can promote it a little when you actually genuinely like the fashion. But when it's like, nah, don't shop here because like you're broke and it's like cheap stuff. It's like, nah, shout out good stuff and shit on the bad stuff. But like most of the time, the stuff that's like super expensive is actually pretty trash. Like, call that out, you know? If you're gonna like shout out other like consumption, money wasting, time wasting things that like so easily let people fall into the trap of like caring about what people think of them and like being self-conscious, like looking at themselves like in the mirror. Oh, how people, nah, don't promote that kind of thing, you know? He promotes all these drugs and all that stuff, and like that's a conversation for a different time. People, that conversation needs to be opened up, honestly. The honest and actual value of drugs in society. And the blurred line between drugs and sustenance of and like food. I was just thinking about this earlier. We criticize athletes for taking performance enhancing drugs because the guys at the bottom can't compete. The broke guys can't get into the sport because if they want to compete, they also have to pay for performance enhancing drugs. And it's like, what if we accept it in the future one day because it gets cheaper? Because it becomes legal and everyone is able to do it. At that point, will we accept it? Do we only not accept these things because of the inaccessibility factor? That's a noble reason to not accept it. But what happens in the future when it becomes way more accessible and everyone can take performance enhancing drugs? Because I'm thinking about it, would people have said the same thing about getting 3 meals a day and all this like nutritional value that we have access to if this was 500 years ago? Oh, how can you be an athlete? Athletes are not allowed to eat this food and this food. They have to stick to eating lentils and stuff like that like the rest of us, you know? They can't eat the nicest, most nutritionally dense foods because not everyone has access to that. Maybe there's an element of that to it. It was just an idea that I had. What the hell was I talking about? What was the point I was trying to make? Oh yeah, designer clothes. Don't shout out designer clothes. Even him rapping about drugs, I don't think is as bad as rapping about designer clothes. I know it's crazy to say. I'm aware of why Juice WRLD died, but this is the kind of thing that's like, I don't want to just make a statement just outright. I would want to dive further into like the nuances of it, you know? And you're being disingenuous and jumping the gun a little bit if you're not willing to at least have that conversation. But at the very least, Yeat, stop rapping about designer clothes, whatever. I mean, if it's cool, then like, okay, stop rapping about designer clothes just because they're expensive. That one was... You only hear this stuff when people first start making music. In the first 2 years, you hear stuff like this. Otherwise, you never hear this. Which it's like, again, it speaks to my point from earlier. It's like, it's okay to put this stuff out. It's fine. But man, this is not listenable, dude. No, that was trash, dude. That was trash. The fact that you approved this, come on, bro. Were you not listening to your own music? See, it's also an amateur that's willing to throw these kinds of things in there and maybe throw stuff at the wall, see what sticks, and then happen to catch lightning in a bottle. I can't discount the fact that maybe that part from earlier where it sounded like there was a bug in my ear. Who knows? Maybe some maniac out there actually likes that part. But this part's actually, there's a bit of a pleasing factor to this female vocal and then that like really like stringy note. Bro, turn the shit, bro. Oh, you just learned FL Studio 6 months ago, but it's like totally like, yeah, cool, put it out. I'm not gonna listen to it again, but you can't hold this kind of thing against somebody. If anything, there's a bit of comedy to it. There's a bit of like, if I meet Yeat, I'm playing this in the car with him, dude. I'll actually confront Yeat about it. I don't know if people do this kind of stuff to him. It seems like he improves at a relatively stable rate. So he probably has people around him that are not just yes men. Throw mine in there, I'll insult him, see how he reacts. If I end up meeting him, which I may never end up meeting him, but you never know. FaZe met Yeat one time. I mean, it was through Icebox, and he's kind of more focused on like locking and hustling now. But he did meet Yeat. People will hear this as consumers, and they'll go like, yeah, every other artist doesn't make these same mistakes. Yeah, because every other artist doesn't they're too scared to do anything different. That's why. They're so boxed in on their thinking. And that's why they get so prideful and they like to claim that they think so out of the box and that they're so creative and everything and that they think in such interesting ways because they need people to think that for them. They lie to themselves and they lie to others so that they can convince themselves of that fact when really they're throwing away their practice of like strengthening the creative muscle, thinking outside the box because they're scared of what people will think of them. So they don't try to do things like this. They don't try to push themselves and be confident and like yell in the mic because nobody likes how they sound in the mic. Try yelling in a mic. You'll sound way worse. You'll hate it 1,000 times more. If you've never done it, if you've never tried to make music and like be loud and like give a lot of energy in a song, it just sounds cringe. It's like, dude, I'm behind the barrier of a speaker. How much energy could I really give, you know? And it's admirable to see people like push that and go like, oh, you're a beginner, you're in the studio and you have confidence. It's exciting. It's exciting to see. I'm talking like he's like so much younger than me. He's only a month younger than me. But it's exciting to see the new generation that I'm a part of as well, a little maybe, pushing forward with confidence. Dude, why have I not heard this guy back then? Because I was on those playlists with all like the weird like Dylan Brady and like Brian Jacob, Lil Aaron and Joji and Trippy the Kid and all these like weird people on SoundCloud that were doing stuff like this, that were having all these switch ups. And like he's doing it. He's doing the mainstream wave and sort of combining it with that underground. Oh, that's how he blew up. That's how he blew up, because he was practicing that. I just noticed that Yeat this whole time was practicing merging the mainstream with the underground sound of the time. I've been noticing things in both, and I failed to realize what his actual intention was here. At least I think that I'm pretty confident thinking about it now that was his intention with his early music, to try to bridge the gap between the underground and the mainstream. I'm seeing that now. Also, his presets suck. Like, I get it. I get that that's probably one of the reasons why he wanted to get rid of this project. If that was one of the factors, I understand that. He always talks about the whole Wyland thing, about when I sound like trash, and then Wyland's like, oh, dude, it's just your presets, I got you. And then Wyland took all of his own presets, put it on Yeat's computer, and then that, like, got Yeat back into, like, it got him out of writer's block, basically. It made him more confident in his sound. And it just made him sound better, according to him and according to other people as well, so. But, yeah, this is not produced very well, honestly. Stayed down long enough. He sounds like he's like frustrated with it, because he's going off, dude. This is not usually how you see artists. This is not usually their struggle. Usually it's they get down the production first, because like learning the software is like a very straightforward thing to do. And their vocals are never this confident, never this fleshed out, never this evolved by the time they're still working on beats like this. You would see a lot of producers, a lot of artists that have beats like this, they're just scared to rap on them because they don't think that they could do it justice. And it's inspiring to see this kind of confidence again. I keep getting reminded of that. I keep getting reminded how much Yeat, this whole time from the start of his career until now, he never once felt like it was a surprise that he would make it big. He thought from the very start, he's destined for this. And it shows in his delivery, it shows. His willingness to lean into he'll toss an idea out, but then he'll kind of hold it back. And his confidence in understanding what he's gonna end up being has like taken a pretty major leap. You know, I said earlier in a previous video, Yeat is sort of like this paragon, this example of what people can look to go like, there's a formula to make it in the industry. But that was kind of disingenuous. I want to push that message because it can be interpreted like that because of what it looks like. That being said, there were other shadier things that happened behind the scenes that are not just there on the surface. And this is all speculation on my part. I don't know the guy for sure. I feel as though he sold a bit of his soul, or a decent chunk of his soul actually, and some of it I can show with the music. But honestly, I don't even know about that for sure. Like, I'd have to know my IRL. I'm a student of the game. I'm still learning this stuff. I can't say anything definitively. But what I do know is he seems to burn bridges pretty easily, pretty quickly. Okay, that may not be the case. He may just be good at keeping it low key, but it seems like it's effortless for him to burn bridges. He hops from label to label, and like no one really knows the details of them. But even if you look far as back as even the projects that we're looking at right now and the previous project, like his really early career, they're all distributed by somebody else. And you can kind of tell, I mean, if you know this, then it makes it easier to distinguish this, but his production, even since the beginning, has actually been pretty high effort, actually. People were very intentional in the way that they were making the songs, in that it's not just someone in the studio freestyling, like making songs, like making beats. These are people like deliberately going in, and Yeat's collaborating with a lot of people. That's really what does it. Yeat, if you look at his credits in his early career, has a lot of very high-end and what I would assume to be very expensive collaborations. And I'm not trying to imply anything. There was likely credit card scamming. It's not. I'm not saying I'm not trying to imply that. I think that that's what was going on, and I think there may be a little more going on. Maybe not with Yeat particularly, but with people around him. And it's like a who knows type situation, you know. And I don't even have a problem with credit card scamming. The only one who really gets hurt is the credit card merchants, and they have too much power anyways, and they've been abusing it too much anyways, so I don't have any sympathy for them. But I fail to understand completely how he was able to bankroll his early career. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I want to go out on a limb and I want to say every single thing that on the surface you see Yeat do, which is collaborate a ton with the underground, get very connected, be likable so people want to work with you, release a ton of music, like don't be insecure about it, and start to innovate on the current sound and the sounds that you like, and all these things that you see him do and actually find success with it. I want to make it a point that all these things can be done independently without selling your soul, and not independently and like, I mean, without signing to a label. You still need like a support system. You need people to work with, people who also believe in the vision, you know? That's the message that I'm trying to push here. If you put your head down, like think about it, and don't let other people's perceptions of you stop you from releasing your music, because that seems to be like the main differentiator between someone like a Yeat and a playboi carti. It's like there can only be a handful of playboi cartis. Anyone can be a Yeat. They're so different in that way, and you might think like, oh, because they're on two different opposite ends of the spectrum, that one would be impressive and the other one wouldn't. But no, they're both impressive in their own way because of it. So on one hand, to anyone who is familiar with Yeat or anything like that, I'm not actually trying to imply anything or say that anything wrong was happening, or that even he sold his soul. If I ever meet Yeat in person, then, or someone connected to him, I'd actually love to ask them to like find out for real. The reason why I'm saying this is kind of like a disclaimer to people watching, to other people that want to make music. Like, I could be wrong. I see the things that Yeat has done on the surface. I'm like, anybody can do that. That's what's cool about it. That's what makes it so respectable. The fact that anyone can do this, but nobody does. However, it's not so common, and I can understand the possibility that I could be wrong in that, despite like how strongly I believe in it, and that maybe the kind of success that Yeat achieved with the strategies that he was going for could only be done by selling your soul. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's true. Maybe music truly is that cutthroat and there's just no way to make it without selling your soul. I don't believe that's the case, but that's up to you to make your own conclusion. I don't want to just outright say it and then people believe me and they go, oh yeah, Yeat's never signed to a record label. No, he signed to a lot of record labels way before his career blew up. And there's unexplained things that gave him an advantage in the industry that I'm unable to tie anything to. That doesn't mean that I don't see a pathway for other artists to achieve those same advantages in ethical ways. Yo, what is this? I love to see people giving away the formula. Live streaming with a live chat.
It might be the craziest thing I ever heard.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Sorry. Yeah, that shit was busting.
Throwing vocals up. Who knows, it might turn into an ad lib, but then he's like, alright, cool, let's repeat that. Alright, now this is the hook.
I'm finna mix it like that. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Sorry.
Yeah, just make that with a hook, huh?
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
It's that easy. Like, this is so cool. The fact that we have stuff like this. And he should have had a better angle and everything, but like, at least we have these kinds of moments, like iconic moments cemented in history, and this is what allows you to build a real community, you know? When they can clip stuff like this and post it on their own social medias and post it on their own my Yeat writer. People talk about, oh, I want to be talked about in the history books. Yeah, you know how you do that? You get people to make clips of you. The new history books is clip channels posting your stuff. Imagine if we had stuff like this, live streams like this, showing how other amazing, iconic, legendary songs were made by other legendary artists. But no one criticizes these other guys because they don't even bother to live stream. So if they don't miss the shot, then how can people call them out and laugh at them for it, you know? Everyone's so scared. That's why it's respectable. People who they just throw out content, they just put it out there. It's respectable. I love it. See, the issue with these songs is that they're formulaic. That's why it's really annoying when they're overplayed. Like, he's got the formula down, you know? And you shouldn't have that as an artist. Like, you can strive for that. It's hard to say exactly, but it's definitely an avenue to go down. But how can you expect your followers to call you great if you don't hold yourself to the standard of greatness? Because if you found a formula and you're sticking with the formula, it means you don't trust yourself enough to make great things while still experimenting and having fun and doing new stuff. But it's very tempting to just enter people's brains like that, to just sap away their attention. You know, your brain is like a speakeasy. It's like, oh, what's the password? Yeat knows the password. All these other guys, they know the password. It's the instrumentals. Instrumentals, it's very easy to make instrumentals now
that just, they get into the brain and it's not hard. It's like a chef convincing you to pay for some food at a restaurant. Okay, they paid for it, it's done. Now it's up to them to put whatever on the plate, you know? But they already paid for, you already paid for the food. They're already getting their money. The instrumental is what gets them in the door, is what gets them to put a plate in front of you, and you'll accept it and you'll at least try it. And then it's just a matter of personal taste with the vocals, you know? Some people like seafood, some people hate it. Some people, you know, can't stand all these like weird sauces and things like that. Some people love it, you know? And the issue is like when this particular balance is struck where it's like 90% formula and 10% innovation, especially when the innovation is like really risky. It's the whole vocals, you know? It's a make or break. If you don't like the vocals, you won't like a song. And that can really make things really annoying when they're overplayed, because it's a matter of what resonates with people. This is cool because I'm 99% sure Yeat looks back on this project and he's like, I mean, it's cool and all, and I'm glad this is part of the run that like made me TikTok famous and all this stuff, and gave me, like, I had ripple effects on the industry with this stuff, but I don't think he looks on this music as fondly as he did from when he was obviously he doesn't, but when he was making it, I can imagine what he was like in the studio and what he's like now listening to it. And it's night and day difference. Where does Yeat go from here? He can't keep playing the same role he's been playing in the industry this entire time. He needs to evolve. He needs to grow beyond this. He needs to do something and become something people don't even think is conceivable at his level. He needs to surpass the people that people imagined he could never surpass. Because he's achieved everything he's wanted to achieve. He's aura farming at the highest level. He's famous. He's got the money. He's got the freedom. Like, he can do whatever he wants. I said this in a previous video, where Yeat needs to stop like putting so much importance into like frivolous things like designer brands and stuff like that. And things like that will allow him to actually evolve as a character. This is like a sequel and then another sequel to a song because it happens to be like the trendy word that people are using around your name. This is a cash grab. Yeat has built a community that will kind of hold him accountable a little bit, but not really. Like, even me, bro, I glaze way too much. I said it before, it's like, the way to know if someone's has a cult or not is if you go to their comments and they're all positive. There's not a single negative comments about them. There's not a single piece of criticism. I have a friend who's a police officer, and there's a video of him on Instagram, like from the police department or whatever, and I wanted to comment something on it, but it's like, oh no, comments are restricted. Why are you restricting comments? This is a cult. You go to someone like Iman Gaji's videos or Hamza's videos or whatever, every comment is, oh my god, this is like, you're spitting, dude, this is crazy, this is life-changing advice, bro. It's like, you need to have people memeing you. You need to have an MMA guru type fan base of people that will just blast him and make fun of him every opportunity they get. And that's what I want for myself as well. When I'm big and streaming or whatever, I don't want people to just, I want people to be making fun of me for being skinny, like all the things people made fun of me when I was little. I don't want that to stop. It has to be playful. And I feel like a lot of that playfulness is being lost in this constant battle between people who really don't like Yeat and people who really, really idolize Yeat. Also, I feel like it would be crazy if he made low stimulation music for the first time ever in his career. True artists are rare. You could like them or hate them or think that they're not innovative or whatever, but a person who believes that they don't need external sources for guidance and they, with their own mind and their own creativity, can orient their own lives, they can give themselves direction internally and go in their own path. That's rare. That's what makes the greatest artists of every generation. That's where I find that people actually find true happiness at a level that they never even could have conceived of before. They never even could have imagined before. Along that journey as well, to even get to the point where you can chase your dreams, you have to overcome so many obstacles, and every obstacle you overcome, laziness and insecurity and all these things, they're all things that are detrimental to your life. He literally, it's like he had to get over addiction. This is what 2093 was about, getting over addiction. The process of becoming great. When people who demand a lot of life, they don't just want to survive, they want to live. When they're not given a direction, a purpose, it becomes a journey, like a battle to overcome all, like to take on all the harshest obstacles that you can take on in your life and overcome them. It's so funny, bro. This like random kid, unkept, the mustache, like everything, the ski mask, intruding on their like precious industry. Okay, wait. If I had IRL friends, bro, I'd love to put them onto the bell. I want to see people's reactions to it who have never heard it before. We're not books to read. We're not Cat in the Hat. No, Sam, I am.
I cut that little shit up, green eggs and ham.
I cut that little shit up, green eggs and ham. What? What? Who thinks of this? The bell thing was cool, but that was one of the craziest, most like throwback. Oh, that bar made my day. I'm a happier person now because I recognize that bar. It's bars like that that make me go like, man, I wish the people, oh, this is crazy. This is about to sound like insane glaze, bro. You have never seen glaze like this before. It's bars like this that make me like upset that people I know who I knew from my childhood are dead now because I'm like, damn, I wish you could have seen this. You would have enjoyed this.
I just put it, and I feel like, damn, we not bookery, we not Cat in the Hat, no Sam, I am. I cut that little shit up, green eggs and ham. Scary, yeah. Big Perky got me snail. You said call me Gary, yeah. Give a fuck about.
The perky call me Snail, you should call me Gary.
What just said, don't need no commentary. Put some diamond.
Call me Gary rhymed with commentary? That's heat, bro.
It's about 10, yeah. Okay, I woke up at 7 p.m. for breakfast.
Oh, dude, wait, I might have to add this, bro. I didn't like it in the beginning. You have to method act to be like this. The only way you come up with these bars is if you're method acting as like the insane, illiterate. Oh, what kind of movies do you like? I don't know. I don't really watch movies. You know. You have to live that. You have to wake up and truly believe you are that person. Let's see what we got. We're at up to me, right? Let's see what's going on right here. Analysis paralysis. There's too many. Like, look at this stuff, bro. Who spends the time to color code all this? And then there's these two mega drives. I don't even know what this is. And then I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, archive.org. So this is not even updated. I wish this had dates on it. I couldn't find any dates, but look at all these songs, bro. There's 1,000. Which on one hand shouldn't be surprising. It's like, okay, 5 years, right? You make music for 5 years, 6 years, I guess. And a lot of these are just gonna be like beats, like things that a hacker stole off your computer or whatever, like unfinished things from the early days, random ideas you threw together in FL Studio and you never did anything with it. I get that a lot of this is gonna be that. But it's like, if you make one beat a day, 3 years and you'll have 1,000 beats. The fact that people track all this stuff, like I feel guilty about glazing Yeat sometimes because I'm like, I don't wanna feed his cult anymore, bro. This is straight up a cult. Like, this is unwarranted.
Don't they wanna lie about it? I'ma ask them about it, cut it bluff.
Oh, I heard how that part sounded without auto-tune. That's a good part right there, bro. That was funny.
Yeah, how you touch shit with you running? I used to be eating noodles and in the basement with the roaches in it. They using up.
Bro, why would you put that imagery in my mind? That's gross. I don't like this song anymore. I don't want to listen to the rest of this song. 4 million, dude. How do people get away with this stuff? I used to get away with this stuff. Yeah, slowed and reverb. 2.7 million views on the slowed and reverb version that didn't even come out in the same year.
You gotta show me this shit. Gotta tell you how I'm doing this shit.
Sick. That's why we have these versions. The sped up, AMVs, which version is better, 1 million views, the edit, like just the edit by itself with 9 million views, guitar cover, 10 million on some other random guy's channel. Bro, why don't I just upload one of these? There's not even he didn't make a thumbnail for it. I can't be mad. It's cool, super slowed. You can have, and then funk remix and sped up and then you get the instrumentals and then you sped up instrumentals and then slowed instrumentals and then slowed with this hertz rate, and it's like every little version of it. If it's boring to you, it's like, forget all that mainstream stuff. Listen to your version that resonates with you the most. Limitations sparks creativity. Struggle is the catalyst for innovation, you know? So it's like, I'm struggling. I wanna see the beauty in these songs. I wanna hear it, but it's getting overplayed. It's annoying. So we have to innovate and we have to create things like this, and an entire new culture on YouTube with T-Fago and Sky and all these different people who make different versions of songs that now produce their own stuff and now make songs with other artists and making like tight beats, making remixes to other artists. This whole wave was sparked up by Yeat in major part by this song. Where's the normal version? Damn, dude. I want to release my songs on YouTube through the Virgin Music Group. Yeah, this song had a huge hand in all of it. You already know the story. I don't even need to repeat it. I don't know why I'm repeating it.
No way.
Oh, let it drop. Side. I love it. Cut it up, but then I triple it down.
I feel like I shouldn't need to mention this, because the last video I talked about like drugs a lot. Oh, kid, don't do drugs. Kids, don't do, you know.
like Anthony Fantano, but like, don't be influenced by all the satanic stuff. I feel like that goes without saying, though, but what's going on? I want to, like, speak directly to Yeat and say, like, yo, stop doing this. Like, the way you can evolve as a character, maybe you do this intentionally so that you can have more things to have a character arc for, but, like, stop with all the demonic stuff. I can't even say that because it's like, I gotta listen to his newest project to see if he's still on this. If you think he's influencing the community the wrong way, which to a certain extent, I agree with you. I think his rapping about putting importance on designer drugs and designer brands, particularly designer brands, because the drugs is it's its own argument, but putting so much importance on, you know, shelling out hundreds of thousands of dollars for like a closet filled with the latest fashion, I think is, I wouldn't say destructive. I believe in, like, financial natural selection. Like, if you're stupid enough to spend your money on all that, like, you deserve to be broke. But you're not making a good case for yourself as being someone who is helping people break out of those things to improve their lives, to become stronger, so that they don't fall into the traps of financial natural selection. You're wasting people's time, even if you don't want to consider that something negative, which actually I would make an argument that you are doing something negative by encouraging that weakness, by showing, oh, I also care about these frivolous designer brands. I don't think it's a crazy deal, but when I make music, I'm not encouraging people to waste their money like that. And I'm going to be prideful of the fact that I'm doing something better than Yeat. And I'm going to make it known. And if I ever confront Yeat in person, I'll tell him straight up, I'm better than you in this way. You see a problem, you want to complain that there's a problem, provide a better alternative. Like, you can go out there, you can make a video, Yeat might see it, you can tell him to the camera, hey, new challenge, new objective, make music like this instead of this. Make it in a more positive way. Make it in a more uplifting way. Make it a little less stimulating. Maybe try this new direction you never even thought of before. Maybe try this new genre you never even thought of before. You, personally watching this, you can contribute to the industry in a positive way. You can help a person who has a massive responsibility to not abuse his power and use it wisely. I'll tell Yeat that right now. He sees this video. I'm not going to tell you what style to go for, because you have that down more than I do. But I'll tell you this, take more risks. People might think you've been like a crazy risk taker your entire career, and you have been with your vocals in the very beginning, but for a while you have not taken very many risks. You think you're taking risks because you're evolving, but you're evolving with such precision. You're really adept at making music. All credit to you. Take that into account, take even more risks, because not only will it push you to challenge yourself, that will spark your love for the process of making music again. Don't just consider music like, oh, it's just aesthetic. No, consider the narrative as well. Think about how you want to implement the narrative and the story, not just into a project, but into your own life, and how you want to have that mirrored, or maybe juxtaposed, maybe opposites. The character arc you can go on is inspire. This is going to sound like an oxymoron if you know what you're talking about here, but I think this is a starting point. Inspire people, but in order to inspire them, they have to idolize you in some way. Inspire them to not idolize anymore. Inspire a dissolution of your cult. I have a couple girls who keep coming back to me for that very reason, because I use this as a strategy to not waste my own time. Instead of making them rely on me, I teach them once so they're self-sufficient and they see the value that brings them in their life, and they keep coming back to me for it. So you're not actually going to be dissolving your fan base and getting rid of all your numbers in this way. You'll be creating a new kind of appreciation from a fan base with a higher level of consciousness. That's the point of all this, is to raise people's consciousness. You've been doing it directly, indirectly. It's been happening whether or not you've been actively a part of it. But inspire people to do what they've been doing, but to an even greater extent. Inspire other people to go out there and be creative and create music and try to surpass you. Inspire people to compete with you, like how Gold Roger in One Piece inspired people to be the new Pirate King. That's like the highest level of being an artist, is turning other like people into artists. Imagine going on that character arc. Imagine evolving your style so much that you become unrecognizable from your previous self, and the people who are like, oh, I hate Yeat, they go, wait, I have to reevaluate. He's not the same at all anymore. This is so cringe, bro. People are gonna look back on the stuff that people were putting in the intros and go like, yo, there's no way we thought this was tough. They're saying that right now about stuff they were saying 3 years ago. They're gonna be saying it about this. These like rage beats are tired now. Like everyone's done with them. But that was a fun era while it lasted. Bro, he keeps dropping projects right before 9/11. He did the other one at 9/10, and then this one is September 9th. When's he gonna drop one on 9/11? I think he maybe already did. I have to check. This one went super viral in terms of like everybody knew about this because the Cole Bennett video, right? Which was a shit video. It's like they only recorded one take in 5 minutes and then they were done and they just moved on, and Cole Bennett had to carry the video with his editing. But it's like, bro, you didn't have to do that. You could have like literally just had a different guy in a mask. Like you could take any dude with the same build. It's a pretty average build. Put him in a mask, put a scarf around his face, put a hat on him, and you'd be straight. He could pretend to be Yeat and you could have him in your video. For all we know, that guy in that video might not have been Yeat.
You can try pulling up on this little bitch.
Oh, and then he...
I don't even be posting no pics on it.
Dude, that was so crazy when I first heard that. I'm like, oh, this guy's... He knows what he's doing. He knows that you're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to very clearly play into the character of, oh, look, I'm switching my flow. You're not supposed to bring attention to it. You just switch the flow. But, dude, I feel like he could have played into it even more after the way that his voice sounded in 2093 and things like that. It's like he can go really deep pitch. This is not deep enough. This is another thing I respect. And I remember hearing this stuff when it came out. People hear this stuff for the first time and they go, wow, it's so repetitive. But here's the thing. This is more mindful music. That's why you're thinking that. This is less repetitive than most other pop, rap, hip hop music out there that people listen to that's super repetitive and they don't mind it because it's brainless music, because it puts them in zombie mode and they don't think about how repetitive it is. He's drawing attention to the little changes that he makes throughout all the entire song, all the little differences in ad-libs and things like that. So you notice how repetitive it is in terms of the style. It's repetitive in that he's not letting off the gas. He's going in with this style to find success clearly with this unique sound playing into this sort of gimmick, which I've talked about in all these videos. And he's not for a single moment stepping outside that character. If you don't appreciate the character, you won't like any of his songs, but I can respect the character. Expressly did not want 21 features on an album, and he wanted people just hearing me. I don't really need other people on my music. That's so cool. It's like, let it be all me. Honestly, I feel like these kinds of features, I feel like Yeat shouldn't be featuring artists like NBA Youngboy or Uzi, or even like mainstream rappers like Drake and Lil Wayne and all that stuff. I feel like Yeat should be featuring artists like Mariah Carey. That's the feature that we need. Yeat x Mariah Carey. My cousin showed me yesterday, there's a, from like 2022, I didn't even know about this, there's a Destroy Lonely and Pink Panthers like collab. And it was actually like not bad. I don't know. Maybe I'll get to that kind of stuff one day. Like, Yeat has done a lot, right? He's done a lot in the game, but there will always be a thing where it's like, oh, but he could have a Mariah Carey feature, dude. That would elevate his status in terms of greatness, in terms of being appreciated by everyone. Yeat x Mariah Carey, this is the feature we need, make it happen. Just in terms of artistic greatness, he's definitely got a long way to go. I mean, he's got to make the lean bar, he's got to elevate his features, and he's got to have a Mariah Carey feature. But I will probably continue to glaze him until the foreseeable future, to make my point, which is put your art out there into the world and don't look back. This vocal effect is... Yo, what are you doing?
Dude, this song is like stimulating my G-spot, bro.
You look like Halle Berry. I think I'm Berry.
That's some iconic shit, actually. The best Yeat songs so far. Quick little list. Brink, Nerds, I'm gonna throw that one in there, even though it's probably the worst of the bunch that I'm about to mention. Stayed Down Long Enough, Money Fetish. This song is interesting. This Money Fetish is actually the closest thing we've ever gotten to a no melody song by Yeat, which sounds like a weird thing to say. I feel like that's something he could lean into. It's something new, it's a challenge for his style, and if it's a challenge, then he should try it out. Experiments to be made, you know, uncharted territory. Then Super Test, Every Sunday. Every Sunday is like, I don't think people will like it as much as I do. I really like that song. I think you can replace it with probably Trendy and people will like it more. Screw it, let's also throw in Teslas and Rovers and Mountain Climbers. Get Busy, On the Line, and If We Being Real. That's my like Yeat's like best of Yeat playlist right there. that I resonate with. This is Yeat's true influence on the community right here. It's not the songs that he's made, that he's put out. It's all this.
I'm up, hey.
Still
I'm
open, he
up,
drops
yeah.
this.
Don't get on phone, say what's up.
It's all these people that get frustrated with the leaks, the snippets, everything that kind of gets released but not really, and there's never an official release for it. His fan base then, out of frustration, becomes creators. He's unintentionally inspiring people to create. Your influence lives on in this on my YouTube channel. I started the music reactions because of you. I'm going to continue them. So whatever becomes of this whole music reaction series into the future, if it becomes something or not, or it might lead to some idea that caused me to do something else, wherever my life transpires, you played a pivotal role in that. The person who gets to claim the credit for this situation, of course, every single person needed to have transpired in the way that they did for this moment to end up the way that it did. But the person who gets to claim the credit, because there's a moment of clarity here, Yeat. I'll see you at the summit. You know that class, the experiment, where the college professor, he told his students to get an email back from some like A-list celebrity, and none of them were able to do it, and the next year he lied to them and told them, like, he instilled delusion into them. He said, oh, last year they were able to do it, so then that year those students were actually able to get that email back. That class is Yeat's fan base if you consider the entire music industry the school. It's people believing that they can, so they end up being able to do it. There's legendary stuff happening right here. Don't miss out. You know, I tell people like, Yeat has hella like leaked songs, hella unreleased songs, that he's like not making any money from or whatever, and they go like, damn, that sucks. And I'm like, what do you mean that sucks? Like, what perspective are people coming at this from? Like, why is everyone thinking so backwards? It's like, you're told that's a bad thing, so you're gonna just believe it's a bad thing. In practice is not the same as in theory. That's why we have these words. What does it actually result in? And that's the thing, everybody else is just doing music theory. They're just doing what they're told. Oh, this is a good thing, this is a bad thing. Everywhere in the music industry is just NPCs. But this is not theory, this is practice. People practice, they play, they learn, they make mistakes, they take risks, they get better. Maybe these things appear obvious to me because I've been working with so many different content creators for so many years, but man, most people, 95% of people really just think inside the smallest boxes that it just feels so obvious to think outside of. Yeat, this guy, whoever he ended up becoming, tatted up and all that, good luck in your future, good luck with your future endeavors, whatever you end up doing, whatever journeys you want to go on, take the risks, believe in yourself. You already know the deal. Most people who reach the position that you're at in your career are already slaves to their label, and they are past the point of no return. And the drugs are stronger, the consequences are lesser. The world itself has changed. On the surface, the world has changed. Deep down, it's all the same. Do what the main character would have done 10,000 years ago. Venture forth into the unknown, fearless. Good luck. Greatness, I said this earlier, greatness is in the decisions that you make as an artist. Playboi Carti is more talented, he's more creative, he's more of a visionary, actually. But Yeat is that hard work that beats that talent. Yeat has less potential to take greater risk, but he took that risk. Playboi Carti can take way more of a risk. He doesn't do it though. So it was Yeat's willingness that allowed him to be greater. And I want to push that narrative. That's what makes Yeat great. That's what makes him greater than Playboi Carti and all his other artists. I want that precedent to be set. I want everyone to know this is what greatness is. And that precedent will be set. And that will make the music industry better. I believe he did elevate that Kodak Black feature on this album. So he's got that one done. I think there's 3 things Yeat still has left to do. Like task lists, I would give him a task list, and then after he does that, there'll probably be more things because it's a never-ending journey. One is, you know what, you don't have to make a lean bar, that's fine, that's whatever. But get a Mariah Carey feature, that's iconic, that's gotta happen. Make like a movie soundtrack for like Dune Messiah or something like that, like be a part of that. That would be so cool if he gets to join that team. And evolve your vocal style, or at least you don't have to evolve your vocal, but you have to develop a second vocal style. Develop like an alter ego the way Carti did. And bonus points for the lean bar. The problem was never the evolution, but the false promise that his new sound would surpass the standards that he set in 2021. In essence, Yeat betrayed not just his fans, but his own self. There were 1,000 better ways to evolve than to turn into a low-energy, lazy flow hillbilly controlled by AI. This is actually a complicated... It's not that simple. Yeat isn't one-dimensional in his sound. He's one-dimensional in the fact that everybody knows that music is Yeat. There's no like, oh my god, wait, Yeat made this? Like, people expect it now. He's one-dimensional in the gimmick. Because he had that gimmick, I explained this in the earlier videos, the gimmick of where you don't need to have the best lyrics. You can avoid the problem of lyrics being your weakness if you turn it into a strength by turning your vocals into an instrument. From the start of his career, it was very early on, up until now, that gimmick has always been there and it has never gone away. And I understand the like, you lean into what works and you know, the dopamine cycle forces you to stay on that. You can't think outside of that. But he really should evolve his vocal style, kind of like how Carti did. And in the same way that people copy each other now, they steal from each other now and post on YouTube and all this stuff, people would be like, oh, he's copying Carti, like new gimmick basically. Even though he would have a different style, he is doing the same, he's making the same career decision as Carti, but to make the decision to copy someone else is a new decision. Yeat could start the wave, a meta wave, of not caring about who's starting the wave, but just hopping on the best wave. If an idea comes to you, it means it's that idea's time to exist in the world. If somebody else puts it out there first, doesn't matter. It came to you. So you have been chosen to put it out there into the world. You may not be able to get the credit of being the first guy to do it, but you are still burdened with that responsibility. The responsibility of being a leader and a visionary and taking this in a new direction that only you can. He's not the first guy to evolve his vocal style after it became stale. Carti did that. But he is the first guy to set the precedent that it is okay to copy other good ideas. So being the second is, in a sense, being the first in a grander game here. It's complicated to see that. Yeat might look at what Carti did, and then he might look at someone telling him, hey, evolve your style like how he did. And he might go like, oh, I don't see enough upside. I see too many downsides. But that's the critical flaw of humans. We see more negative than positive. You kind of have to use your life experience and just trust that if it's the right move, you know intuitively deep down it's the right move. Trust that when you make the right move, you'll be able to make the most of it. And you'll find opportunities and doors and to open and things like that you didn't see before because you weren't in it. I can see it. I see that as the right move because I've spent basically 2 decades overanalyzing everything in the entertainment industry. So I've developed this skill. But even it's not perfect. I'm still learning. It's not even that I'm still learning. It's that I know enough about it to know that I will barely know anything about it, but I trust that it will work. You make the right decisions with the right principles backing it and trust that things will work out. And that's the message that I've been trying to give with not just the Yeat reactions, but with everything I've done in the studio so far. It's on a holistic level. If you trust, put your music out there into the world. You put your art out there into the world. If you love cooking, you go and you cook and you give it to others. You give it to people in your class. You give it to your friends, your family. Like you put your creations out there into the world. Things will work out for you. This is the message I've been trying to push. Create. Be an artist. Peel back the illusions of reality and expose the true world to the masses. Evolve yourself. Respond. Have this back and forth with the masses, with your audience. And the person who is the creator, the person who is responsible, who has that responsibility to give, should instill that responsibility for them to give to others, to continue that journey, to continue that cycle, to raise the consciousness of the masses. All the social norms about this and rap music and all that, none of it matters. Consume as much as you need, create as much as you can for others. Do it for others. Do it for the sake of leaving the world more beautiful than how you found it, and watch what it will do for you in return. I'm gonna need Yeat to do a fantasy medieval wizard themed aesthetic next album. Hey, you know what? I like the idea. Keep them ideas coming. This is a cool idea. And if Yeat's not gonna do it, he's probably not gonna do it. Screw it, somebody else take the idea, somebody else do it. Shadow Money Wizard Gang. Thanks, Yeat, for jumping on the wave and believing in yourself enough to chase your dreams. Your position in the industry has allowed me to, with intense clarity, explain to people how to navigate the music industry. And for that, I'm in your debt. If we ever meet, I'm gonna hold you to a high standard, but in times of need, I'll also have your back.